Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Faceless, so let's get into it. Alrighty, let's go into the index, and under Knight Revenant, the Void Epic on the far right here is Faceless. And remember, as always, for my champion guides, I will have an infographic right here that kind of shows the general information and the masteries that I'm using on the champion that you will see in this video. As always, remember to build the masteries yourself. Don't just blindly copy masteries. Use it as just a template to get you started. But let's dive into this kit. So we put that away, and here we go. The first things we want to look at is the base speed and the stats, the crit damage, all that good stuff. So typically the crit damage base is going to be 50, so he gets 60. So that's good since he is a damage dealer. It's good to get a nice little bump in your base crit damage. The base speed of 101 is very good. One thing that jumps off the board here is 738 defense. That is insanely low. That's like one of the lowest defenses in the game for an epic champion. So this guy is definitely going to be a glass cannon, and you're going to want him to be one-shotting things, especially if you use him somewhere in the arena. Going to be kind of tough to get this guy to have any sort of sustain. So for the A1, we've got attacks one enemy with a 15% chance of placing an extra hit. Not super impactful there. I wish the A1 had a little bit more utility. The A2 places a 30% increased crit rate buff on the champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy. The thing about increasing crit rate is, unless it's permanent, unless it's a passive, like permanent crit rate or something, it's just, you still have to build the champion for 100% crit rate, so it doesn't really do you any good. Now, this should be place a 30% crit rate on all allies for 2 turns and then attack one enemy. That's what it should be, in my opinion. Then we've got the A3, which is kind of the selling point and the calling card for Faceless, and that's attack one enemy with ignore shield and block damage buffs as well as defense. So this thing can hit insanely hard, ignoring defense and some of those special effects that you can run into. I wish this would also ignore unkillable. It would make him a lot better in the arena, going up against skull crowns that are super popular. So in my opinion, his kit is not good enough that it would make him overpowered to add unkillable to this list, but he also has an aura that is ally attack in arena by 21%. Not a strong enough aura when it comes to the fact that his kit, and it's an attack aura, which is not super high value, and it's specific to the arena. So I would make this like 35%. If it's just the arena and it's just ally attack, I would go with like 35% on that. But yeah, I would give the A1 a little bit more utility, and I would make the increased crit rate for all allies instead of just him. And then this is a pretty solid ability on a 3-turn cooldown, can hit super hard, but I would also include unkillable in that. And then if they did that, I think that would bring Faceless more into line with being a solid Void Epic. Right now, I think he's decent. He's all right. He can be an okay damage dealer in terms of faction wars and dungeons, and he can slide in as your kind of nuker for a single target hard hitter in the arena with this ice bolt here. But I do think he would deserve a little bit of love to kind of come into line with being a good Void Epic and come into, you know, competing with Skull Crown or anything like that. He would need a little bit more love on his kit. Because remember, my champion guides aren't designed to sell you on a champion. They're designed to kind of give you my opinion on them once I've invested in them and played around with them, and kind of how good or bad I feel they are. And that's kind of my general sentiment on Faceless. But I'll dive more into, you know, if you should 6-star him or not, kind of at the end of the video when I wrap everything up. Right now, let's go out here and pull up my Faceless. I'll kind of show you the gear I have, and we'll go over kind of everything here. Okay, so you can see here I've got the crit damage, offense, and cruel. We've got to get this guy to be hitting hard. We want him to scale very well with crit rate, crit damage, and attack. We got to get his ice bolt to be nuking things and, you know, bursting down targets. So that's kind of the route I went with in gear. And here is the total stats. We can see here that getting defense high is going to be really tough on him because his base defense is so low. So gonna be, if you're gonna have any sort of percent stats, you probably want HP. And then in terms of your amulet and your banner, remember, you don't need accuracy. So flat defense is going to be a good choice on the main stat of the ring. The flat defense is very good on him because it's very hard to get defense on him. And then also on the banner, I would prefer this HP was defense, but this banner is insane for him. It's got the 23% attack and the 18% speed to go along with defense percent, because why not? But this banner was crazy. That's why I put it on him, but I do prefer to have the banner and the amulet probably be flat defense or attack. That way you can either super glass him out and go with that theme, or get him the flat defense. It's a good opportunity to get that because he's not going to scale very well off of the percent defense rolls. And the amulet is obviously going to be crit damage. We don't need accuracy on him. Remember, there's nothing in his kit that steals anything or manipulates turn meter or places a debuff. There's really nothing in his kit that you need accuracy for, so he is a 0 accuracy capable champion. Thus, you can just go with your best crit damage amulet. On the boots, you're probably going to want speed. There is an argument for attack percentage if you can get good speed substats on him. Chest is going to be attack percent with a good blend of crit damage, crit rate, all the usual suspects for a damage dealer. Gloves, you can either go crit rate or crit damage, and it just kind of depends on the other substats you're going to be using on your gear. Here is my shield and helm and weapon. Those ones are a little bit more simple because they have the guaranteed base stats. You're just looking for the normal damage dealing stuff like speed, attack, crit damage, crit rate. And as far as the masteries, they should be pretty straightforward since he doesn't need any sort of accuracy and he doesn't place any debuffs. I did try out the defense tree on him, at least get a little bit of sustain there, and then a counter attack, because remember, he has such low defense. It's actually going to be pretty easy for him to lose 25% of his max HP, so he might get some value out of that. So that's why I went defense instead of support. And then these masteries over here are going to be pretty self-explanatory. You're just going for high damage arena masteries on the offense tree. But remember, those masteries are in the infographic that I have down in the video description, so you can pull those up at any time and kind of take a look at the masteries I have on my Faceless. And I do like to cover the booking process really quick. So this guy is going to take 12 books in total. When you're booking him, the most important thing to book is this Ice Bolt. Now, I did book my Faceless and had really good luck. I usually don't. I used to do it live in the video, and it was like 7 straight videos that it just went horribly wrong, and I was needing to do the maximum amount of books every time. So I started doing it off camera, and look, this one went how it was supposed to. We want to book the A3 and the A2. It's not super impactful, this A2. I wish it would. I don't know. I think the A2 should get a little bit of utility and have an extra level here to give it a little bit more oomph to the kit. But based off of his current format in the game, you really only want to book the A3 in my opinion. So if you can finish this in 4 or 5 books, you can stop there. And then the A1, not super impactful. The A2, not super impactful in my opinion. So I recommend kind of going that route in terms of the books. Epic books are hard to come by, so you do want to be a little bit careful with them, and especially given that you're probably not going to use Faceless in a clan boss scenario or anything like that. You got to be careful in terms of spending 12 books on him. But now I will show you Faceless in action here a little bit. I do like to kind of show you how they perform as an endgame campaign farmer. Now, I expect this run to take about 30 seconds. He has no AoE. He is just a single target burst damager. So you can see he's going to hit decently hard on his abilities because he is single target, but because of that, he's not going to be someone you're going to want to use in a campaign farming scenario. You're definitely going to want to go with somebody who has lots of AoE abilities. There's 101,000, so we can see that one hit pretty well. And he is able to kind of ignore defense and nuke targets. So not the worst campaign farmer in the world, but definitely not someone you're going to want to use. You can see here, he's about a 30-second campaign farmer. So now let me show you him in the arena, because I think when people build Faceless, they're going to get the most utility out of him in the arena and faction wars. So I think using him as kind of the back end of your rotation in terms of nuking a target down is kind of going to be the best route to go with him. So I'll show you him in a couple different scenarios here. And he can be decent at nuking high defense targets because remember that Ice Bolt is going to ignore all defense. So let's show a couple battles here, and we'll kind of fire it up on auto, and we'll take a look here. So Tormund places the provoke, then Santa hits and lays down a shield. And now what we can do is we probably want to hit the highest defense target that we think we can go ahead and nuke down. So we'll take the Ice Bolt, and we will hit the rosin and there you can see 102,000 damage. He ignores the defense of the Razen and just absolutely demolishes him. So that is one area of the game that Faceless can shine in, and that's being an arena nuker. Defense champions are very popular in Raid, so thus that Ice Bolt ability that ignores shield and defense is going to be very viable in the arena in terms of bursting down that specific target that you really want to take care of and wipe off the battlefield. So now let's go ahead and walk through the grading process and go over the reviews. So they recommend offense and crit rate. They always stick to the basic sets in terms of these recommendations, so that's not bad. You know, I've definitely seen worse in terms of recommendations. So arena offense, I would, you know, this is one of those areas I will give him a 5. You know, I just showed he can hit extremely hard. Ignore defense is very good in the arena, so he's not like double S tier or anything, but sure, I'll give him a 5. Campaign, I don't think he's gonna be super good as a single target glass cannon. That doesn't bring a whole lot of buff utility, even in terms of like 3-starring content. So I mean, he is void, so he'll never be weak, so we'll give him a 3 there. Arena defense, he's not gonna be super good there. Minotaur, sure, he's fine, but not a whole lot of AoE in terms of speed farming or anything, so we'll go 4. Gosh, clan boss, he's really, you're not going to want to use him in the clan boss. I mean, the A1 does have the extra hit to get War Master procs a little bit more consistently and stuff, but God, I mean, a 2, sure, okay. Dragon Lair, he's all right, kind of the similar story to the Minotaur. We'll give him a 4. Spider Den, I mean, gosh, he's gonna be really, really bad in the Spider Den. He's only got the single target abilities on his whole kit, and no buffing or turn meter utility or anything. So yeah, I can't really think of how he could be much worse. And then for Fire Knight's Castle, a similar story to the Spider. I don't see a whole lot of AoE or turn meter manipulation, or any ability to help you kind of burst through the shield. So yeah, not kind of his strong suit there. Magic Keep. Now, he does ignore shield, so he can hit the magic boss very hard, but I'll go a 4. Ice Golem's Peak is seems to be a little bit more of a defense type dungeon, and he's gonna just nuke himself down in wave 2, so a 3 there. Force Keep. The Force Keep boss has a lot of defense, and he ignores defense. So, I mean, sure. I mean, it's probably his best keep. We'll give him a 5 there. Void Keep, he's fine. Just not, like, God tier or anything. We'll go there. Spirit Keep. Yeah, 3. Doesn't really bring a whole lot of utility. Faction Wars, he can be a damage carry for your team. You can kind of build a team of 4 people around featuring him as kind of the damage carry, and I will show you a Faction Wars clip of Faceless here. I'll give him a 4. It could be, you'll see in the clip he's not quite as good as I thought he was going to be, but he's okay, and we'll kind of go over and show you the numbers he's able to put out in one of the higher Faction Wars stages. So let's go there, and that kind of concludes the grading. Let's dive into that Faction Wars clip. Okay, so let me pop this up here, and this is going to be a run that I did in the Night Revenant. I think it was like level 18, one of the later stages, and I sped this up to be X3, which is something I wish was in the game in terms of if you have the raid pass or not. I think you should get an X3 option, so this is sped up just a little bit to kind of, you know, for your viewing pleasure. We'll get through this 2.5-minute run in about a minute and a half or so. So you'll get to see how hard Faceless can hit, and then at the end, he didn't quite do as much damage as I thought he would, and that's because he doesn't have any AoE. So in terms of being a specialist damage dealer, someone who's just single target, they're probably gonna look like they don't have a whole lot of utility and they don't do a whole lot of damage because they're not hitting a bunch of enemies. You know, they're hitting one person for like 50k instead of 5 people for 20k. So even though they're hitting very hard, it looks like they're not doing much damage. And you can see here that I built a team here that's mostly defensive, and then Faceless is just kind of my nuker, my specialist, designed to kind of burst people down. But so the reason I seem a little bit down on Faceless, I don't know that his nuking capability is good enough to make up for the rest of the lack of his kit. I don't like the crit rate buff that doesn't have any other utility because he's gonna default to his Ice Bolt anyway, so you still have to build him with 100% crit. And the A1 is like worse than a lot of A1s for rare champions. It's just like a 15% chance for an extra hit. And then an attack R to boot, not even like a speed or an HP or a defense or anything. So I don't know that his kit is well rounded enough to justify a void epic. Maybe a regular epic, I would be okay with it. I'd be like, okay, his one role is that he ignores shield and defense on this one ability and hits super hard as a single target damage dealer. But in terms of being void, I think void epics and legendaries should be a little bit different. But there you see the 431,000 and Whirlwind did 350. So he's a little bit ahead of Whirlwind. I wish he was up over 500,000, but that's the fact that he has no AoE capability, and that's why the damage seems a little bit lower, like I was talking about. But yeah, I liked it. Like I said earlier, we would get to, should you invest in Faceless? Do I regret 6-starring him? Do I regret investing in him, booking and all of that? Kind of. I kind of regret it. Now, he can obviously get some good value. You know, if you're a newer player and you don't have good options for damage dealers, the fact that he's void and he can be a damage specialist who nukes people down, that is cool. But just go into it knowing that's kind of his role. You're not getting like an account changer. You're not getting a general damage dealer. So, I don't know that I can sit here and super strongly recommend that you 6-star Faceless. I will admit he's a little bit underwhelming compared to what I thought he would be before I built him. So I hope that kind of you know, helps you out if you were wondering. And he's just kind of an average epic in my opinion, who I think has potential to make his kit synergize a little bit better. But definitely let me know what you think down in the comments if you disagree, if you have found amazing usage out of Faceless. You know, I'm always open to other opinions, and that's how we all kind of learn about the game and grow as a community. And remember, I will have that infographic down in the video description that you can pull up and take a look on your own time. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.